Check 1 2. Oh my gosh, is this thing actually working? Check 1 2. Chat, let me know if I am coming in loud and clear. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if the audio is okay. We had quite the debacle this morning. It has all gone down this morning. Good freaking morning. Welcome to Friday Morning Magic, the most fun you can have on this channel, on the entire internet, when I can figure out how to get the stream working properly. Wow, I did not expect on one of the most exciting Fridays we've had in some time to run into just crazy difficulties, but as Zendes points out, it is Friday the 13th, and as is tradition, we were cursed. We were lightly cursed, but we came through. We got it all figured out. I think everything is configured properly and still should be working, and because of that, we are ready to talk some of the biggest information of the month. We have Doctor Who sales data. That's right, every single sold listing from TCG Player for sealed product when it comes to Doctor Who Commander. We have to talk about all of that today. We're going to look at the singles, see what we think is going to hold, what we think is not going to hold, and most importantly, we are going to have a darn good time because, good Lord, it has been a stressful morning, but my goodness. Cheers. Hold on. This was a gift early on in the channel's inception from a fella named, I believe, Rory. Cheers to each and every one of you out there. Oh, that coffee feels well earned this morning. If you were in the chat, if you are here for Doctor Who to find out how many boxes sold, if you are here to hang out for Friday Morning Magic, or if you're just here because you like to support, let me know in the comments section. Let me know in the chat here as I shout out those who have been here. Keith Foster, LGS owner. Yesterday at 8 a.m., I had a call from the police that my store had been broken into. Oh my God. Keith, I hope everything's okay. Let us know. I'm so sorry to hear that. Let me know that everything's okay. Devin, good morning. Devin was at the stream last night, on the stream this morning. MTG Captain, hello. I am here. I have arrived, my friend. Nick, you did not miss it. I just had to wrestle with the computer monsters to get everything cooking again. Zenda's, oh my god, I was just putting on BAM audio, gave me a start. Oh, sorry. Listen, the audio start was what we could do. I apologize. Keith Foss says audio is okay. Devin says, I'm your support viewer, my emotional support viewer. I appreciate that. Let's get into some Doctor Who stuff, and let's start on TCG Player. Let's let people filter into the stream. Let's start on TCG Player here. So we have TCG Player information. Was my work PC interfering with my stream PC? No, I didn't have that problem, which is good. I'm glad I didn't have that problem. Let's see if we can't get this blown up for you guys a little bit. I have 2 different workstations for my work PC. I know I could do the same thing and use a KVM or something like that, but I rock 2 different workstations intentionally for my work PC and my stream PC. Okay, it's Doctor Who Commander time. It's time to take a look at some of the products that are currently for sale. And most importantly, let's ignore sealed product for right now. Let's talk single card value, because we have some sales data to go over. Whoop, oh, shh. Nobody tell anybody. Shh, secret sales data. Let's take a look at some of these cards and see what we think will hold. Let's go price high to low. In fact, actually, let's start best selling. So we have Everybody Lives, obviously, being a popular card. This is the card that I claim is... It's one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of Commander, as effects like this. I know that they're all over the place. They just seem to be more popular here. And I got to tell you, this is a wild, wild card. We have Nick with the $10 super chat donation. Happy Friday, adding to the coffee fund. That means this stream officially brought to you by channel member Nick. Thank you. Cheers, Nick. Nick, you get a solo cheers. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate the support. If you want to support kind of like Nick does, I suggest you check out the channel membership. It's linked in the chat above your head. Big shout out, Nick. You are now the current sponsor of the stream and this delicious sip of coffee because of you. Oh, God, that one was tasty. That was tasty. This Everybody Lives card... This is one of the arts, too, that drove me to, like, it feels like this is just being displayed at us off of an old TV, right? Just that vibe, the feel, the texture that I'm getting from this art, it's very cool. Now, we see this coming down in price. I can't imagine a world where this doesn't continue to come down in price, but goodness gracious, when it comes to Magic the Gathering singles, anything can happen. Anything can happen. So this bad boy comes down in price, in my opinion, but Everybody Lives being the most popular buy. And now we are seeing an uncommon. Now, there was a content creator that made a point that I think could be very valid, right? And I believe it was Louis. So big shout out to Louis. If it wasn't Louis, then hey, I'm giving him credit for something he didn't say. But the idea that we have various rarities in this, while every card is guaranteed in the Commander decks, is a little bit weird. I understand it has to be done for the collector booster product, but you can buy the 4 set of Commander decks and get every single card in the set, I'm pretty sure. So it makes sense now why you could see something like this uncommon being so expensive on launch. It doesn't mean that this will stay here, but Displaced Dinosaurs is a card that's holding a lot of value right now. And, I mean, listen, for good reason. As a historic permanent enters the battlefield under your control, it becomes a 7/7 dinosaur in addition to its other types, so it makes all of your historic permanents also dinosaurs. The 7/14 rare collector booster. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Rip and Chip, good morning. Thank you for hanging out. We're going to get to the sales data here in a bit, but we're looking at some of the most purchased singles. We're going best selling on TCG Player just to see what people are getting their hands on. The Lightning Greaves makes a ton of sense here. 7/7 tokens are big food, dude. Then you can sack them and get some life. You always love to see that. I love to see these Horizon lands. I like that they are up there as high purchases, as things that people are interested in putting their hands on and adding to their collection. I am not upset about the Horizon land reprint. If you were here, you get an easy preview. This week, we have a video dropping called the Magic the Gathering Complaint Tier List. So we are going to tier list all of the popular and common Magic the Gathering complaints and outrages from the community. Everything people seems to scream, and they reprinted fill in the blank is on that tier list. And I gotta tell you, I don't understand the rage for anyone who's upset that they reprinted the Horizon Lands. It's been, I think, 4 years now since the Horizon Lands dropped. They weren't holding a ton of value before, and they didn't. And if you're investing in a bunch of, Horizon Lands and it's just crushing you, I guess I'm sorry, but like, it's been 4 years. This does not bother me. Wizards of the Coast never said they're not going to reprint it, so that's kind of my stance on that. It's cool to see them in this set because I think it adds a lot of versatility. Again, we need untapped lands and more commander sets. We've heard the complaint before, and I think that one's pretty valid. But we are seeing a lot of the cards, as we do in almost all these commander sets, a lot of the cards being purchased are not the most expensive cards. And listen, Commander's amazing for that. You don't have to buy the most expensive version of something. You can buy cheap versions of cards to fill out your decks and get a chance to, sit down and play with your friends. This is a massive win. So I do think, again, it's things like Everybody Lives. You got guaranteed copies coming in boxes. I think it probably goes down, but I don't think that's a controversial statement. I think most Magic the Gathering sets come out and the products go down. Rip and Chip says Surge Foil commons and uncommons are super rare, and that would make sense because I know the collector booster box is packed with Surge Foils, and I know that there's a ton of rares and mythics in those packs. So those slots with commons and uncommons are actually going to be fewer and farther between, which makes for a extremely interesting dynamic. This would be a massive fun time to open. I can't wait to get my hands on some. So when it comes to the cards that are holding the most value, we have the Cyber Conversion. I have not actually seen this card yet. This is turn target creature card face down. Ooh, wow. Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. In Commander, that's pretty good removal. You don't give someone an opportunity to send their commander back to the command zone. It deals with indestructible creatures. This is pretty good removal. And in blue, too. Wow. Wow, this card's real good. That card's real good. Seeing it, the Surge Foil up there kind of makes sense. Here we go. We do have the 10th Doctor Showcase Surge Foil. Do you think these Doctors will hold their value? Whenever you attack, exile cards to the top of your library until you exile 9 land card, put 3 time counters on. So this is the Suspend Doc. Suspend Doc. Time travel 3 times, activate only as a sorcery. I love this. Dude, the theme in this set is so good. We've gotten over it. It's on the tier list as well, but if you're in the camp, get this out of my Magic the Gathering. Like, unfortunately, like if that's the way you feel, I empathize with you, but that time is over. That's not an option. Wizards of the Coast clearly is going to put this in your Magic the Gathering and our Magic the Gathering, whether we like it or not. So I think we need to evaluate it as is. So I'm going to talk about the theme. I don't want to make anyone mad. So Far North Magic, a lot of the lands are in multiple decks. Firely Island is going to crash hard. Like, yep, that's probably true. I could see that happening, but I don't think that's the biggest deal. I don't want to harp on that too much, but I don't think it's going to be the biggest deal. We got Carpet of Flowers up here, the enchantment at the beginning of your main phase. If you haven't added mana with this ability, you may add X mana of any color. X is the number of islands target opponent control. Oh, yeah. All right. Those who want docs will get docs. Having tiers of docs from the pre-con to Surge and Serialized also means upgrades on secondary market purchases for the same customer. Yeah, 100%. I love the fact that they did collector boosters here. Let's pop over to sealed product before we look at the full sales listing. Let's pop over to sealed product and kind of look at how that product is holding in value right now, and then we'll pop over to some data. But I like that, and that's been a common thought that I've had with this product from the get-go. And for those who have been around since the first Doctor Who video, I like to point out, like, hey, I think this is an amazing opportunity. You have something like a Commander deck where you get someone who might be interested in Doctor Who, someone who knows Doctor Who but hasn't played much Magic, someone who has no idea what Magic is but loves Doctor Who, whatever, the wide range of possible consumers to purchase this deck. But then you have what might be a little bit of the Lord of the Rings problem. You have Lord of the Rings really hardcore players that bought the Lord of the Rings stuff and never moved on. Well, I think the Warhammer 40k stuff. You got the Warhammer 40k fans that bought the decks and just never moved on to the next thing. Well, Doctor Who kind of helps to transition those consumers to the next thing. They offer a collector booster box. So part of Magic the Gathering and part of everything we know and love is not only cracking packs, but it's upgrading our decks, right? It's showing off fancy cardboard. That's part of our community. And the collector booster display takes the person who got into the game through Doctor Who and gives them a taste at that next step. So I think that's a win. Also, you don't have to buy the collector booster. There's nothing, aside from treatments, there's nothing exclusive in the collector booster, which Magic almost always does, and I love that. The fact that you can get every single card out of the Commander decks, and if you want to get the crazy version, you can go for the collector booster. That's just a win. I love the way that shakes out. I'm a big fan. Here we go onto the individual decks, and we have seen something interesting with this timey-wimey deck. We have seen this timey-wimey deck come down a good amount in price, I'm pretty sure, at $59.99. I believe the more recent sales, just as of earlier this morning, we're at $75. So to see some of these at $59.99, 12 of them, it does seem like, hey, someone is definitely getting off of their cards. They're like, I don't want this product. I need my money back. I'm making a profit here. The question is, does something like this start the train downward? As happens, again, not a bad thing. Every Magic product ever comes out, hits the secondary market, comes down in value. Is this what starts the train? Or looking at the just parade of offerings that is pretty well held at 75, pretty well saying, you know what? I'm staying right here. Oh no, I know, I'm aware, I know it's shipping, but you have to remember, when someone goes to list their products that they just got the ability to list this morning, they might not take that into account, right? They might not take that into account. So that's why when you see something like this and you are someone who's going to list cards, you have to wonder, is the next person that lists or the next person that tries to undercut going to take that into account? But either way, again, look at just the faith behind it at this $70, $75 price point. Like this, I think this deck continues to sell extremely well. I really am a big believer, but this is actually not where most of the people are getting their Doctor Who Commander fix, is in the individual decks, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the timey-wimey deck still remains the most popular deck, the most highly sold deck. We do have the Masters of Evil deck, which I think this is a cool opportunity. You have 3 decks, or you have 4 decks. And 3 of them are all based around different doctors and timelines in Doctor Who. And that's fascinating. That's amazing. That's going to draw a lot of people in. This one seems to stand out for me, right? The idea that we have one deck that is the villains deck. And it's just one. It's just something. It's just little nuggets, little bit of details that sets it apart when it's on the shelf next to its peers. We're like, okay, what's that? Oh, that's this through this doctor. What's that? That's this through this. What's that? This through this doctor. What's that? All the villains. Like, this one stands out a little bit. I'm pretty excited to see what this one does in the near future as far as number of people who buy this versus the other Commander products. And we have here the same thing where we're looking at shipping. So it does seem that we've got a good track record of people that are looking to list low, recognizing the shipping cost and not creating any kind of real downward pressure on things, which I think is super good. Like, listen, Magic the Gathering prices on release go down. Whoa, who knew? Like, that's how a trade... let me rephrase. Trading card game prices on a release go down. That is not how, it doesn't defy the odds. This product, however, is holding really well, and this is what we want to see from a healthy Magic the Gathering release so far. So far, big fan of everything we're seeing. Really healthy looking release, cool product, something for... If this product ends up being for you, there's something for almost every budget. And I know, like, it's hard to be like, oh, but my budget's $10. So, like, yes, there are singles out there for you then. because no Magic product comes out with a sealed product for like that budget. But for people who are used to a range of Magic budgets, there's something for almost everybody. We got the Blast from the Past deck that we'll look into. We got 2 more. We got this. We got 1 more. We got the case, and then it's sales data time. As we go into sales data time, as we keep doing this, before we get to sales data, if you were considering joining the channel membership like Devin, like Nick here, like Ralph was on the stream last night, make sure you click that link. We're looking for, we're trying to get 3 channel members every single week. We missed our goal last week. Today starts a new week. So we're trying to add 3 people to the channel membership. I'm looking to open up the Hometown TCG Discord again. You get access to all of my sales data. You get exclusive content. Make sure you click that link. And that is how I support this channel. That is how I support my channel. That's how I generate revenue to buy the second camera so we can start doing box openings and things like that. I do it through the YouTube monetization. I do it through the channel membership. So big shout out to people who have joined. And if you're thinking about it, click that link and check it out. If I do say so myself, it's a good time. But looking at the Blast from the Past Doctor Who Commander, and yes, for those, let's get this out of the way. People are like, I don't want him to shill. Like, I do. I shill for myself. I shill for this channel and this community. That's the shilling that I do. That's it. That's it. Like, listen, I'm so sorry that the channel's monetized. I'm sorry that we're building that channel membership community. If that bugs you and if it's not for you and you're just watching, I appreciate you all the same. I really do. But I'm going to continue to shill for us, for this community. Moving into a Blast from the Past Commander deck for Universes Beyond, we are seeing this deck sell at a bit of a cheaper price point. And I gotta be honest with you, the fact that some of these are still around the $45 to $50 range is something that excites me. When we saw something like Commander Masters, and Commander Masters dropped, and we didn't know, what decks were going to be popular, what decks weren't, and then all of a sudden, the Sliver deck and the Eldrazi deck just took off, and the Planeswalker and the Enchantment deck really just had no gas. We continue to see that separation. That was a bit concerning, but it did boost the sales of the sealed deck product. I am interested to see what happens with these. Are we going to see something similar where these stay a relatively affordable deck? They never really hit with the community, but they still sell in good numbers because of all of the people looking to get their hands onto the deck set product. So still selling in good numbers. We do have a couple people that will be like, I don't see this moving up too much past this because we got someone with almost 30 listings sitting there. But again, you get brand new unique cards when you buy this deck. That's still to me is a win, even down to the Paradox Power deck. And I know some of these, the themes are less popular, but again, you still get functionally unique cards when you purchase this deck. This one coming off at like, what, 47 after shipping, 46, 47 bucks after shipping. And that's cool. Like, hey, you got 50 bucks in your pocket. You want to try out Doctor Who. The fact that you have an option is pretty great, in my opinion. But without further ado, it's time to talk about what we all came here to chat about. It is time to talk about Doctor Who sales data. So remember, it's important to remember when looking at the sales data, this is not indicative of the entire community. It's just a way to compare Doctor Who not only against itself, but against other Magic the Gathering sets, other releases that have come in similar timeframes, other releases that have come this year. And this is a wonderful tool for us to see not only how we feel about Magic as a whole as time goes on, but how we feel about Magic on a set-to-set basis, what speaks to us and what we decide to leave on the shelf. And that's why I love this project. It's one of the things I put a lot of time and effort into, and I am so excited. Josh Smith, good freaking morning, Josh Smith. Welcome to the stream. And just to shout out, we were late this morning too. We had technical difficulties, so we were running behind, and you're here just in time because it is Doctor Who sales data time. Let's take a look at how this product is selling. Let's reorganize here. Move up. Get this thing blown out, and let's see everything that I can see on this chart. Let's shrink this a little bit so we have a clearer chat in the background for those of us, our friends that are joining in the chat. Thank you again, Nick's. It looks like Nick's super chat just played. Thank you, Nick. I don't know. I don't remember seeing it play the first time. There's some issues with that super chat thing. All right. Let's get into some of this information. As we can see, we have sold whoa. What's happening? As we can see, we have sold 9,244 boxes on popular online marketplace TCG Player for a grand total of, I'm doing a drum roll, I don't know if anyone can hear it, $661,000, $661,254.77. So we have sold a lot of product for a good amount of money. And as people, when this product dropped and people thought this was going to be a less than popular product, I was ecstatic to see this product not only do extremely well, but sell in really good numbers at a ton of different price points. This to me was a massive, massive win. But let's get into the important thing, as we have updated the sales data as of today. As of 10/13, and the product is officially out. That means not every box was technically a pre-sale. Heck, things bought today are no longer pre-sales. They are actual sales after just release date. So pre-sale data is obviously very close to what we've looked at. We have seen $653,000 worth of pre-sales and 9,106 boxes pre-sold. So that is the locked-in pre-sale total. That is what Doctor Who Commander will have pre-sold until the end of time, no matter how many of these boxes sell in the near future. And comparing that to other Magic the Gathering sets, it compares extremely favorably. It out pre-sells every single standard release set this year. So every single set of standard, whether it's Phyrexia All Will Be One, March of the Machine, going back into last year, Brothers War, we tracked Brothers War, and I know Brothers War is not a 2023 product, but I love talking about Brothers War, so I'm going to do so every single chance I get. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. And even Wilds of Eldraine, this is out pre-sold all of those products, and partially that makes sense, right? It's a Commander set. It's got a much wider reach than a lot of these other products, but still, people were not saying, they're not very high on this product to begin with, and to see it selling in healthy numbers is just, massive win. But there's something on this page that jumps off to me as jarring, as just like mind-blowing. And that's that pie chart at the very top of your screen. This chart indicates the total boxes sold. This breaks down out of every box that's tracked out of TCG Player, what type of box was sold. So out of the 9,244 boxes, 92 freaking percent of those boxes were Commander decks. 92% of every box sold was a Commander deck from TCG Player. That number is crazy. That number is wild. And as someone who is extremely high and excited for the collector booster box for Doctor Who, I knew the Commander deck would be the more favorable product. It's like the set booster. It comes at an affordable price point. It gets you everything you could want. You can use it to have a Magic the Gathering experience. And that Commander deck is just a dominant force when it comes to these standalone products. Now, the fact of that is there is 4 different options to pick from the Commander deck, so you're all 4 kind of against one. There's the cheaper price point. Like, all of these things need to be taken into account. But listen, we've proven as a Magic community, we like collector boosters. We like shiny stuff. Normally, collector booster is much more competitive than this, but in this set, listen, it's just not. We are all about the Commander decks. And as far as those Commander decks go, the sales are fairly balanced, and the reason the sales are extremely balanced is because the most popular way to buy the Commander product is the Commander deck set. Commander deck sets are selling wildly favorably in comparison to all of the other decks. If we look on the left, we see kind of some of that information about Commander deck sets and their sales. And we do see, Timey-Wimey being most popular, Masters of Evil bringing up the rear, Blast from the Past and Paradox Power filling in the last 2 slots. But Commander deck sets are selling like crazy. And when you have a discrepancy in price, one Commander deck costs $75 to $80 and the other one is down to, it's $45, $47. Someone says, I can get that Commander deck set for $200. Get all of them, save a couple dollars off the high-end stuff, and then either decide to sell or even just keep the other Commander decks. Heck, I split that between 4 ways with a friend and stick someone with the one that I don't want. Who knows what the community is doing, but this is a great balance in sales. Now, the individual sales of these decks is what makes up kind of how the decks are selling outside of that. And we do see the Masters of Evil deck coming in second, and the Timey-Wimey deck being in first place, the most sold deck that we see coming through here. And again, we talked Paradox Power Blast in the past, bring up the rear. But this is where things get interesting. And this is why every set I think it's important to have this graph. I've debated taking the graph on the bottom of our screen called the total spend per product, how much money we're spending on the products that are selling. And I've debated taking this off the screen. But I think what's extremely important here is that we see why Wizards of the Coast puts the effort that they do into the collector booster box. Not only is it something that we have proven as a community we will buy, right? Let's face facts. We have proven as a community we will buy the collector booster box. But it generates them much more money. It generates them so much more revenue per box sold compared to the amount that it costs them to produce and effort, all other things remaining equal. This is just very telling. It shows us why we're seeing so much attention paid to the collector booster box. It tells us why we're seeing so much attention paid to the treatments in that product. And I gotta tell you, it all makes sense when you realize, like, hey, they are a company, and I know that's on the tier list. Again, if you're not subscribed, make sure you click the subscribe button. That's on the tier list of Magic Complaints. The Wizards has to make money. Magic Complaint is on there, and it really shows us why they put the effort where they do, in my opinion. So before we go over, we're going to break down the last 7 days, how the product has sold over the last 7 days. I want to touch base with some of you guys in chat. So, Ralph says, it makes sense to buy the 4 decks. You have a full set of the cards, 100%. You get a full set if you buy, especially all the new cards, if you buy the 4 deck sets. Josh Smith, listen, I understand that you are a dedicated and well-versed channel member. You are a subscriber and a constant member of this stream. But I gotta tell you, you're always coming at me, dude. I love it. That's awesome. Oh gosh, someone's gonna clip that. Great. Then this says, get a deck for the theme pod, then buy another precon for parts. 4+1 is list. That's not a bad plan. Brad back. What's Louis' channel name? Josh appears on Fridays. It's called Kitchen Table TCG. We end the podcast. We will end this podcast by watching the intro. I got to tell you guys, I got to warn you, this week, I get absolutely demolished on the podcast. They spend most of the podcast making fun of me, and it was pretty funny. In fairness, it was pretty funny. You know what? Every once in a while, you got to do a tip of the cap, cheers. It was pretty freaking funny. So Brad, I will link that at the end of the stream, and I will make sure to show you where it is. I will actually make a comment on there. We got 11 likes on the comment last week. Let's try to get 15. That might be a little too much to ask. I'm gonna make a comment on the podcast, and the comment got liked 11 times. We're looking for 10. We're gonna shoot for 15. Ugh, it's gonna be rough. So, breaking down Doctor Who sales, let's talk about the last 7 days. So this is how the product has sold over the last 7 days. And the way this works is when the data is pulled or updated, it chops off the last day. So let's say the data is pulled today. So the data gets pulled on release day today. We don't consider today as one of the days we want to track because guess what? Not all the products that are going to sell today have sold today. So we are looking at the last 7 days. As we can see here, we have the 5th through the 12th, so yesterday through 7 days ago, and the breakdown of products is pretty jarring. The dip in sales this close to release date becoming less and less popular as time goes on, and then seeing a surge as we get a couple days from release continues the trend that we have seen with this information for Magic the Gathering products. Now, we've seen this before. I don't want you to freak out. People aren't pre-ordering Magic like they used to. Not because Magic's worse. Not because Wizards of the Coast is evil. Not because they print a million, maybe because they print a million sets. But not because of all this. It's because we know that reliably, most of the time, 99% of the time, Magic the Gathering product is going to be readily available. There's no urgency to pre-order. Heck, before, when you didn't pre-order a product you wanted, there was a chance you go down to your local game store and you didn't get it. That's not the Magic world that we live in anymore. Listen. If you didn't pre-order a Doctor Who Commander deck, guess what? You're going to be able to get a Doctor Who Commander deck. So there's no urgency to pre-order. You're pre-ordering truly either out of habit of pre-ordering or just this love of getting things into your hands earlier. You don't want to wait, and that's totally fine and a totally healthy way to engage with the product. But we are seeing people pull back from that a bit, just kind of buy when they want, and Magic sales do, they are on release week a bit more consistent than even at the beginning of this year. They're a bit more consistent through release and through that portion of time. But we do see the Masters of Evil deck being the most sold individual commander deck this week, slightly edging out the Timey-Wimey deck, but following a similar trend, and the Blast from the Past and Paradox Power deck followed the same trend, but didn't hit quite the same numbers. They were all real close. They were all selling, 200 plus copies of these decks, but they didn't quite surpass that, and then they crept back up towards that 200 decks per day as we reached the official release date. But the collector booster is something that was interesting. I think we got some murmurs and some rumors about the collector booster possibly having a second wave, possibly coming back, and people looking at that $270, $280 price point and being like, I'm going to be honest with you, not for me. And so the collector booster box is actually on a downward trend toward release, and again, that makes sense. I think the collector booster box works best here if you are already a massive Doctor Who fan, or if you get in, you really like the commander decks, and then you kind of buy the collector booster box as an afterthought, as a way to kind of go back or revisit or enjoy the set. The difference is, though, I think this could be the collector booster box that you convince me. And maybe this is a hot take. And if you're here for the hot take, shout out to you. Well, if you're here for the hot take, let me know in the chat, because I got to get to a couple of your chats here in a second. But this is the collector booster box that you could convince me sells best in single packs. Because of, and leaving Lord of the Rings out of this, but because of exactly kind of what its purpose is. Its purpose is like, oh, you like Doctor Who, you're loving the set, you're having a good time playing Commander with your friends. Here's a pack you can crack with all cards that could just be upgrades and shiny stuff and variants that go in your deck. I could see someone at the game say, wow, I did have a good time. Okay, give me one collector pack, and then I open it, I get lucky, give me one more, or give me 2 collector packs, and I open those at home afterwards, and I swap a couple cards out of my deck, whatever it might be, whatever it have you, right? So for that reason, I think, and this might be a little conspiracy theory-y, but I think this could sell extremely well by the pack. And again, Lord of the Rings might break that mold, because Lord of the Rings essentially was this, like, you're taking a chance at something just a life-changing experience, right? So Lord of the Rings could sell best as a pack, but I really think the Doctor Who Commander collector product is going to sell well as a pack. And hey, I just think when these came out, when these first hit the market, and big shout out to a friend of the channel, friend of my family, and friend of me personally, George, for sending me the Warhammer collector decks, they were the good thing in a gag gift box. If you didn't catch that live stream, it was a lot of fun. We opened some really fun stuff. But if we look back at these in time and consider, like, if these had a collector pack with them, I think we would have seen a lot of individual packs, a lot of people that were hyped about the set at the time. These were all over pods in local game stores, going in and buying a single pack off the shelf, looking, to try to get lucky and hit that one thing and upgrade their cards. Because listen, most of these people haven't experienced buy singles yet, right? That's not something they have experienced yet. So, no, I didn't give any financial advice. I said I think that's what's going to do extremely well. I'm talking about the sales of the product overall, not how you should spend your money. Josh, stop trying to get me banned on this stream. Oh my God. I really like the success of Universe Beyond, says Josh. Feels a bit more confident in my purchase. Give me hope for Fallout Commander. I think Fallout Commander is going to be cool. MTG Captain said, me too. I'm excited for Fallout Commander. Going to ignore the rest of new standard tests. I am really enjoying standard. In fact, I'm doing some standard live streams because I play Magic anyway, so I figured I might as well live stream it, so make sure you check one of those out. Zen does no urgency, but the amount of product in print means the frequency of pre-ordering cuts into opportunity cost to buy other things like groceries, but release proximity does mean they rub up, and that's another reason, like, hey, I always plan to spend my Magic money on this, but now I'm being distracted by this and distracted by this, and like Zennis points out, groceries and everything, like, obviously the groceries aren't like groceries and everything, but yes, groceries, rent, like health and wellness for you and your loved ones, vastly the top priority there. So I could see what you're saying. I could see them rubbing up and kind of constantly distracting us onto the next thing. But I also think the consumer is far more agile now when it comes to Magic than we ever have been. Oh, that's why you yelled, "This is not financial advice." MTG Captain tried to blow up the stream. Josh, you took the heat. Josh, you took the heat for Captain. Josh is out here taking the heat for Captain. Captain, stop getting Josh in trouble. Josh, you're like that kid in class that always says something funny and the teacher is always laughing, but I have to be like, oh, gosh darn it. But no, so now you're just catching strays, dude. Unwarranted, unfounded, complete bias against Josh going on in the stream, and I apologize because that's on me. That's totally fair. Single packs how I sell most collectors, way more profitable than having players buy boxes. Totally, Dominic, 100%. That breaks down. I mean, that makes sense. The math on that checks out, and it also widens your consumer base. It gives more people the opportunity to get their hands on product, and it's more work because you got to find more people. You got to convince more people to buy more frequently than just selling the box. But 100%. Yoko, good morning. Yoko has been at every live stream. We had 3 live streams on the channel, and then this one. Yoko's been at every single freaking live stream. Shout out to Yoko. Shout out to Yoko's wife for apparently mocking me. But then redemption as I opened Streets of New Capenna packs, and that apparently is another fan favorite in the Yoko household. So Yoko all over the channel this week. Big shout out to you. Thank you so much for the continued support. Yoko always hanging out. Big ups to Yoko. So that's the way the sales data shakes out. I would expect to see this one continue to trickle out. That's what I'm interested in seeing, kind of how this breaks down, how this continues to sell. I wouldn't be surprised if this one continues to trickle out. I think if the Commander deck pod is a good playable pod, I know the Professor did a shuffle up and play. I know the Professor did a deck reveal. I know that the Professor did a "This is why Universes Beyond is okay." That's not actually what I'm being hyperbolic. I'm being a snarky, smart alecky jerk. But hey, I think that if that pod plays out well, we could be sitting in a wonderful spot for this product. And I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm excited to see this thing kind of continue to sell. And frankly, I don't play much Commander. You guys know Commander's not necessarily my jam. I don't play as much Commander, but things like this, things like the Lord of the Rings pod, things like the Commander Masters pod, they make me want to play Commander. Like, that 100% makes me want to play Commander, and for that, I love the product for that reason. That in my opinion is a big win. It makes someone who doesn't necessarily like playing Commander want to dive into and play Commander. I'm going to announce here this week, like I do every week, I'm going to be at MagicCon Chicago, Magic Fest Chicago, whatever it is, the one coming in February. I'm committing. I've told my family, I've told my loved ones, I've booked the time aside. I'm probably going to take that Friday off work even. I am freaking going. You cannot stop me. I'm going to that. If you are also going to MagicCon, Magic Fest, whatever, Magic MTG Chicago, make sure you come say hi. It would be awesome to finally get a chance to get back out to these events and hang out with people in person. So if you're going to be there, if you're considering being there, make sure you tap me on the shoulder, you give me a healthy high five. I'll try to bring like some promos and stuff. I have courtesy of MinMax Games here. I have the world's largest stack of sealed Gala greeters. If you guys remind me coming up to MagicCon Chicago, I will not only bring it, I will give these out. I will get them off my shelf. You can write funny. I will put one on my. I'll open one, and every viewer that comes up can write something funny on the card. We'll sleeve it. We'll put it in a hard snap case. We'll put it on the shelf behind us. We'll do some fun stuff. We've got some fun stuff planned with these. So if you're gonna be around, make sure you come say hi. Yeah, that would be cool. I think I'll give them out, and I'm gonna keep one and let everyone on the channel who wants to write something on it write something appropriate, of course. It's going to be on the shelf in the background of a YouTube channel that various ages watch. Appropriate. We're going to do stuff like that. Yeah, so many Gala greeters. Josh, if you want to sign Gala greeters and I see you, we'll get you one. If you're not going to be at MagicCon Chicago, ping me in a members only post or something like that. One of the posts or one of the videos or any of the sales data that I've shared with you guys, ping me on there, and we'll get you hooked up. Or you can email me at hometowntcg@gmail.com, Josh, and we will get you a Gala greeters. That I don't know why you'd want one signed by me, but like, listen, good for you, buddy. But let's end this stream by doing something Sweet. Something I enjoy doing every week. Let's check out the May the Zoo Be With You podcast. This podcast is located over at Kitchen Table TCG. This is the homie Louie. He's a, again, personal friend of the channel. There's George, the person responsible for giving me the collector decks. And every week we get together and we talk all things Magic the Gathering. This week, like I said, was exceptionally spicy. This week was a wildly spicy podcast. Let me get some of this stopped. Let's get this turned up. Let's turn my headphones up. Be ready for sound warning. I don't know how loud this is going to be. Let's watch the introduction of this podcast. I don't know how loud this is going to be. Sound warning.
I'm a vintage connoisseur.
What do you say, enthusiast?
No, because I'm not. Never mind.
How? What'd I do? What'd I do, man?
Yeah, I respect myself. I would never use that.
Okay. First of all, I took it on the chin hard this week. I got made fun of a lot.
Do you want to do the test or no?
Yeah, we don't need a test.
When we get to the sorcery content section, Louis, you need to carry this podcast.
Well, I'm good. That's why I was doing that research and ignoring you.
Listen.
Whoa! Welcome to May the Zoo Be With You. No. All right, you guys ready?
I was gonna leave
This is brutal.
Let's go. All right. Whoa! Welcome to May the Zoo Be With You, America's most Taylor Swift and May the Zoo podcast. Only when I'm not here. TCG podcast. I am, of course, joined by America's favorite 12-year-old boy, Josh.
Why did it get creepy? No volume over there.
I'm just saying.
Why'd
You're
you make
like,
it weird?
Why did
I'm
you
showing
say
desktop
that?
audio.
Yeah.
I'm showing volume.
Did you
I
say
don't know.
for your wife? Any man
No.
who shaves for a woman deserves neither.
Well, leave the comments below.
No,
And
I did
am,
not
of
shave
course,
for my
joined
wife.
by the man
weirdo.
who told me, George, stop mentioning Tay-Tay. George, stop mentioning MetaZoo. Louie to George.
I told you to stop mentioning NFTs, crypto, and Tay-Tay.
I took it
okay?
on
Those
the
are
chin
everything-
And MetaZoo.
hard
No,
this
stop
week.
it.
And MetaZoo.
I told you to stop pumping MetaZoo, that you were giving
I took it on the chin hard this
All right.
week. If you want to check out this podcast, you can find
I
it
have
at the
heard
link
about you
in
from other
the
podcasts.
video that I just posted right now. If you want, again, I would love to, if you considered supporting the channel by clicking the channel membership link above. We are trying to continue to grow that. You get access to all of my sales data. When I update my sales data,
I don't think my YouTube.
I give it to all of my channel members. Everyone gets access to that. They get exclusive videos, they get custom emotes, channel badges, and they help to build the new stream setup. So thank you all so much for your continued support. Thanks for hanging out. Big shout out to the channel members that are in the stream. Big shout out to the consistent viewers. Hey, if you are here, you watch the stream, and you hit the subscribe button, I appreciate you more than you could possibly imagine. This is a wild ride. It is not lost on me. Everything we're doing, I do not take any of this for granted. I can't believe we have the community we have, and I can't believe we continue to grow our community and have a wonderful time talking Magic the Gathering. Thank you guys so much. Before I let you go, I will say, again, sorry about the technical issues this morning, but I'm glad we were able to get them resolved and get things going. And I always love, this is the best way to start my Friday. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh, and we will see you around. Goodbye.